Hello and welcome. Today we've got Nick Alvear, and today he wants to be discussing with us about how his plans are going to be on infiltrating Netflix. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Nick can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Nick, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Thanks for having me again. I'm spectacular. Life's been full of a lot of obstacles lately, good ones, bad ones, but most misfortunes I find the fortune in. So I'm really happy. I've moved, so my background looks different. And I love where I am. I love what I'm building right now, especially too, which is kind of what we're here to talk about today.
Well, why don't you tell us? We know you're a movie maker and you educate many tens of thousands of people on the deep state and the draining of the swamp and pedophilia and pervywood, and you've done a fantastic job. And I too enjoy really watching them. And you've got such a soothing voice that goes on top of those videos that I just want to hear more. But what I want to know is, how are we going to make this the Netflix? And how are we going to infiltrate Netflix? What's your plans?
Right. Good questions. So the first one, it sounds like you're saying, how are we going to make Good Line the Netflix of red pills? And by doing what we're doing now, by continually making red pill documentaries that are easy to consume, that are familiar to the convention, so people they're aware of what they're getting into, and we're just going to keep growing. Our numbers have grown extravagant in the last year. So what that means to me is that there's a lot of people out there who are getting excited about red pilling, and that's awesome. This is an educational resource. It's not an entertainment resource. So that's where we divide from Netflix. So that's also how we intercede and, I guess, infiltrate Netflix, because I'm running a campaign right now. It's a Give, Send, Go campaign for Good Line TV. And in essence, there are 3 films on the roster that we have that we're fundraising for the right equipment, because what most people might not realize is you can't just grab let's say if anyone out there knows cameras, you can't grab a Blackmagic Cinema camera, film something and have it distributed on Netflix. They have a requirement of cameras that you must use. Oftentimes, it's going to increase your chances of getting picked up and distributed. Why do I want to infiltrate from the inside? It's basically like Neo in the Matrix, in that scene where he stops the bullets drop. And what does Neo do? He runs into Agent Smith. And then Agent Smith kind of has this like blurs coming out of his face and everything. And boom, Neo, it's coming out of him. And I think that's what we all got to do. When you look around and you see the Netflix and the newscast channels, CNN, all the crappy ones that are just brainwashing, what we've got to do is, we don't destroy them. You infiltrate. You go in and you blossom from the inside out. In the similar fashion, that's how they've taken control of everything. So we're just looking at their playbook and changing it from dark to light.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think's going on with everything with Twitter and Elon Musk and, the whole politics that's going on right now?
That's a great question. I find myself on the side of not wanting to pay attention to it because it's so everywhere. And when something is so everywhere, I'm wondering what's going on elsewhere. When it comes to Elon taking Twitter, I see a lot of people very happy about this free speech beacon coming and taking this corporation. But I don't trust Elon at all. And I am open to trusting Elon. And this is a great opportunity for me to see if I should. Because if he's a man of his word, then we're going to start seeing people's accounts being reinstated who were deleted. Because there were a lot of people's accounts, including Trump, Tucker Carlson, Project Veritas. If they all come back, all right, count me in. I'm in on Team Elon. But right now, I don't think that's happening. I don't think it's happening at all. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I get a good feeling about Elon Musk. Let's see what happens. Like you said, we have to wait and see if he does stick to his word, and
Yeah.
only time will tell. But we're living in a time where, I mean, the mainstream media doesn't even like Elon Musk. It sounds like it, when they're saying that, you see the lefties on the television say, whoa, Elon Musk, wants to, he's a free speech advocate. So, and they're saying as if it's a bad thing that free speech comes with responsibility, because people are sheep. People don't like responsibility. They like to be led. They like everything done for them. They want an easy ride. And it's like, it's a privilege to have free speech. No, it's not. It's our God-given rights.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You
So
got to use all your powers responsibly.
absolutely. I mean, you're a filmmaker, and being a filmmaker, especially when you're educating the masses on draining of the swamp and the truth of what's really going on from different topics, from Petergate to technologies to the financial system to blackmail, you have to keep on top of your research. You have to really make sure that you're always got new research, new content, you're keeping yourself up to date because you're constantly creating. So what are you creating now? What's on your list now?
That's a great question. So if I've been doing this for enough time now where I can notice where if a topic is draining, it might take a little couple films for me to realize it. And lately, have found my biggest motivation has been trying to get the whole message clear about Ukraine and Russia. And I won't go in depth here because we really shouldn't. You guys can watch the latest movie I made is called The Rise and Fall of the Khazars, and that talks about the history of the cabal. You can see where the cabal had their stomping ground and how they expanded into the West and why, their motivation. And then there's 2 more episodes left in that series that will explain how we got to today with Putin and Zelensky. All right, so that's one project, that's one series. Then there's Pervywood Ukraine. I'm making a Pervywood on Ukraine because even a country can be perverted. Even a country can. And I mean, look at ours, but now look at Ukraine. It's not even a country. So we don't want to go too much into that, but those topics right now are so heavy that I realized I need to bring back the sci-fi kind of magical, philosophical stuff. For me, that includes I think 3 or 4 projects I'm working on. Celebrity Cloning is a film that I will be making soon that I've already written. And, I just think about Joe Rosati because I feel like if he's watching this right now, he's probably going to call me because he's like, you're going to make that movie because he's done so much on Donald Marshall. Do you know about Donald Marshall?
I do, and he is a victim of the cloning centers. He's revealed it, and he speaks about the Real Society. And I've got a question for Donald Marshall, but I want to let you finish your answer.
Awesome. All right. Celebrity Cloning, that's going to be a really fun one because that's one of my biggest, if that's real, and I believe it might really be. Then there's the Sentient World Simulation, and this is in conjunction with Nick Hinton's series. Nick Hinton's a brilliant researcher, writer, and him and I collab on screenplays where this one, the Sentient World Simulation, is such a fascinating concept that even now Europe is starting to show their true colors that it is going on. What is it? It's that the cabal, the Illuminati, they've been investing so much resources into creating a mock universe of ours to where there's the Nick Veniamin and Nick Alvear, and they've got all their everything they've purchased on Uber Eats, everything they've searched online, every phone call, everywhere they've gone. And they develop a pattern history to where they can determine a pattern future. And they can watch what you do there and get an idea of what you're going to do here. And so they also can create similar vibes, sensations from one universe to ours. How? That's crazy. Well, smart dust. Smart dust are tiny little particles in the air that act in unison as a large computer. So you could be breathing it in and giving it information or receiving information from this other place that is pretty much connected between quantum computers. The Quantum Computers is basically a company called D-Link that has they've been using quantum computers to attempt to create a portal to bring or to take people into other dimensions. So the truth gets stranger than fiction in that one. I'm looking forward to making that. And then of course there's the pervy with Oprah. I gotta highlight how Oprah has been really, I want to get people trained to understand that the media is going to try and get you to look at people like heroes. When they do that, you should really start to question why. And for right now, that's all I want to cover for what's coming up. Yeah.
So let's talk about my question about Donald Marshall is, how is he still a victim of the deep state? And is he still participating as a victim with the cloning centers? And if so, why haven't they killed him already if he's spoken out so much?
Right. Because there have been others who have spoken up so much and been killed. Why not just kill him? Well, what I've heard, because he's been on a few podcasts, and we've tried to get him on podcast. The word on the street from the last people who did a podcast with him was that when he does a podcast, he gets punished for it. And that's when he goes to sleep. I guess in the clone center, in the cloning facility where his true consciousness is, I guess, I'm not really too sure, they beat the crap out of him. And I might have butchered it. Joe Rosati knows better, but it seems like he's not comfortable to go on podcasts anymore because that may happen again. So it seems like he's under control.
I heard that when he goes to sleep, the deep state or the cloning centers, which is the deep state, have the technology and the ability to take his consciousness when he's asleep, and he goes into REM sleep, and it goes into the clone body, and then they torture him in the clone body. But again, I mean, I don't know exactly how this technology and how it all works,
Yeah.
But it's horrific,
It's horrific. And it's something in me believes it's real. It's sci-fi. It sounds out of this world, but something in me believes it. When you start to see in this movie, celebrity cloning, we're going to look into celebrities like Britney and Britney Spears. When they're growing up and their music videos are very symbolic, and you wonder, why are we seeing a cloning facility music video here for a song that really has nothing to do with it at all? This is how they work. This is how the Satanists show their true colors. And then you look at Britney Spears now, and you see that she's out of her conservative ship, and she has some sense of freedom. What she's doing with that freedom, she's posting some of the most telling things on Instagram now, but yet she's also looking kind of crazy. And I don't mean physically, she's just kind of acting wild and crazy. Like maybe the chains are gone for real, or maybe she's a clone. I don't know. So the hole goes deep on that one. That'd be great if you got Donald on your show, man.
It'll be very good. I would love it, honestly. So when you do your documentaries, I mean, what's the criticism that you've got so far that you found challenging or anything like that?
That's a good question. I think the biggest one that bugs me is when people don't like the music. Yeah, because I make the music. That kind of hits me too. People don't necessarily, people most love the music, but some will say it's too loud, and I'll be like, damn, you're right, I should have checked it better. But for the most part, in the beginning, people were saying, why is this dude whispering in my ear? This is creeping me out. And I thought, my daughter was asleep. I'm just recording, not trying not to wake her up. And then it just became a soothing thing. But it's just the style. And the thing I love, what people like the most, is they say it's the approach is not really down your throat. It's a lot of questions. And questions open doors. Statements, I wouldn't say open doors. When you're relating with somebody and building rapport, you want to ask open-ended questions. And having open-ended questions is great. It's not a yes or no answer. You're going to have depth. And so I like to pitch people with opportunity to explore something deep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for the future of what's forming. Like, I feel like I'm in this bucket and it's raining abundance, and I'm building a boat so I don't really end up drowning, because there's going to be so much opportunity. What I see coming right now is a Good Lion Film School. I was on another show, and I mentioned, if anyone out there wants to learn how to edit, especially if you've seen my movies and you want to learn how to edit like me, I promise it's not hard to edit like I do. It's actually really easy, and I feel confident that I could show people. And I'm, as a tester, if you guys want to learn, just email me at or nick@goodlion.tv. That's nick@goodlion.tv. Let me know if you're interested in learning editing. I'll send you a free software, and I'll even send you a video of me recording. I recorded myself making a whole movie. So you can watch from beginning to end what it's like to make a movie. And that way we're going to have a whole bunch of keyboard warriors out there. We're going to have a ton of people making movies like this. And then I can also devote more of my personal resources to making larger films. Like, I'm really excited about this film coming up about this kid, Brandon, man.
Mm-hmm.
The kid Brandon with Down syndrome, 26-year-old. He's been in Times Magazine twice, fashion designer. Ugh, this dude is just so himself that he's inspiring people around the whole world to be themselves, and giving hope to parents who have kids with Down syndrome, because you can be a badass with Down syndrome. You just got to tell the world not to put you in a short bus. You just tell them, you own up, and I think we're getting to a place like that now.
Absolutely. So what types of documentaries do you want to make that you've kept back, but now you actually feel, you know what, it's time. It's really time to show the people now?
The Sovereignty movie I've been wanting to make that for a year. And that's a very dangerous film, I think, to make, because you can't really commercialize that information. It has to be a free movie in a sense, because I don't even want to dance with the law right now until I'm fully sovereign. Mm-hmm. I'm on probation, I was at the Capitol. If no one knows, I was there filming the whole thing. And I also smoked weed there, and I got in trouble for it. I went to jail for 45 days. But the film that most people have no idea, that the way out of this whole matrix is becoming a sovereign citizen.
Well, you're absolutely right. But you have to remind the viewers, because there are some people watching this for the first time, Nick, and they don't know you. But not only are you a film documentary producer and, writer, but also you were framed by the deep state, because you are a Trump supporter, to frame you as this bad, as Trump supporters are bad, and it was propaganda. And there were other people smoking as well who were fine. I'm not an advocate of smoking, but there are many worse, more things you could have done, or someone can do, to go to prison. But that was a deep state plant to use you as propaganda, to put you on the television, to make you look like a Trump supporters are bad, and that, it's dangerous, and it all part of the January the 6th, hoax, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who haven't heard my story yet, because you have a constantly growing channel, so I understand. So I was, in a sense, framed. When it came to the prosecution and myself presenting evidence, they presented false evidence that I had real evidence to counter with, such as the videos from my camera phone that they took. So they thought they had it, but I backed it up right away. And so, I was in the HBO film 4 Hours at the Capitol. And in essence, the film depicts everything from my perspective. I had a great time there. It was chaotic. I got shot a few times by rubber bullets, tear gas all over the place. I saw a lot of injuries, saw a lot of blood. Like, people's heads were, because police were getting aggressive. But from where I ended up, under the rotunda where they filmed me, and the video got 7 million views, to me, it was a beautiful experience to see people get together, rejoice, and stand for something, not with violence at all. But in the movie, you get to see what was happening I don't know, maybe 500 feet in the center of the building, chaos, pure chaos. No one was celebrating. People were fighting. It was cops versus Trump supporters. I disavow all of that. That's why I wasn't there. It's not like anyone knew that was going to happen there, but it happened. And yeah, so I went to jail for 45 days because my brother told the FBI my name. And my brother's my huge, jealous arch nemesis who just wants to ruin everything I've done because he's jealous. And I never hated him for it because I was supposed to go. I went, first jail I was in was on Godwin Street. And that's like cute. That's, for me, I thought I should pay attention. That's where I learned about sovereignty. There was a dude in there who came in about a week and a half, maybe 2, that I was in there. And he was carrying a huge laundry basket of stuff. I'm like, why is this guy carrying all this stuff around? And he had a breathing machine and he was heavy. And I thought, this guy's like my brother. My brother's heavy and has a breathing machine. And then this guy ends up hearing me say something. And he goes, did you say you make conspiracy films? I was like, yeah, what's up? It's like, what do you know about Black's Law Dictionary? And I didn't know anything about it, that. And so what that is, it shows all the definitions of the real law. Mm-hmm. And he shows me, and then he starts telling me about sovereignty and how we could get out of the system correctly. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And he became a good friend to the point where when I left that jail, I was crying in my heart and a few tears. And I thought, don't cry around all these dudes. What are you doing? Why are you crying leaving a jail like you're sad? Because I had a good time there. And so the rest of the journey was not a good time. It was from one jail to the next. And one jail I almost got beat up in by a bunch of BLMers. And then the last jail was the cap where there are still patriots in jail. I was at that jail for a week and a half, and they're still there 15 months in the most hostile environments. This story with the J6ers right now goes deep, very deep, to the point where right now NPR interviewed anonymously a handful of them in there, and they're spilling the beans on the drama that's going on. What is that drama? Someone successfully fundraised over $1 million and is not distributing the money fairly to all of the people in there, and they're starting to make an uproar about it. And now it's officially out. So the person has been called out. I'm not here to say their name, but hopefully it makes a difference and we can see some of those funds get distributed evenly, because everyone in there is not even sure who's Antifa and who's not. Like, that's become a thing in there. And some people are suspecting that maybe some of the Trump supporters in there aren't actually Trump supporters, that they're Antifa and they're on purpose. Like, I don't know how deep the deep state goes with this, but man, I can't wait to the day where we all are accepting awards for this, because we're starting to see left and right more evidence come out about the election. We can't say it's this or that on the tube, but we're seeing more things come out about it. And that's also another movie that I can't wait to make, because I've found such a good resource that presents so much video that it's undeniable.
Well, I really look forward to more of your videos. You're doing a great job in educating the masses, definitely, Nick. And you've had great experience that's taught you a lot. You've been through challenges. I would love to put your links below so that people can have a look about what you do, and you're doing fantastic. So Nick Alvear, it's been great. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yeah. If you have any ideas, guys, that if you have any ideas of movies you want to make, if you have any one of interest, I know some of you have already reached out, and I'm developing a team to follow up with you guys, because there's a lot of ideas out there, and there's a big team I want to make. So if you're a videographer, whatever, if you're feeling the call, hit me up. It's nick@goodlion.tv, and let's create the new wave, new Hollywood.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nick Alvear. We'll speak very soon again. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. God bless you, bro.